Well, cool. So news, folks. We whacked the Guess the Gangster segment. It's out. So, but we got some new stuff going. Our producer Chris helped us out. So we're gonna be trying a new thing out, kind of like a wrestler spotlight, almost kind of what we indicated earlier on. But we're gonna start off with somebody that Rob's very familiar with, Mr. Paul Heyman. So, Rob, what we have here in the notes is we'll be talking about Paul for a lot here, like I'm sure throughout the show. But we're gonna stick to the ECW days and stuff like that. So, when did you first kind of meet Paul Heyman?
Well, I remember talking to him on the phone after Sabu had been trying to hook us up for a long time. Sabu was trying to hook me up with ECW. I was wrestling for All Japan Pro Wrestling, and what they were paying me was enough to where I could really pick and choose, even way back then, 96, 95. So I would just do the independents, whatever was right for me. But Sabu would say, we got to bring you in, you're going to do really good in ECW, and all right, whatever. And then, I wouldn't talk to him for a while, and then he'd be like, hey, did Paul call you? And I'd be like, no. He'd say, what? That mother, he said he was going to call you. And no. And he'd be like, damn, hold on. I'll call you back. And then, a week would go by, 2 weeks, and same thing. He would be like, did Paul call you? Are you serious? He told me he was going to call you. And I really didn't care.
Yeah.
Was like, whatever, Sabu, And then eventually Paul and I talked about me coming in. And the first talk that we had didn't even work out. Paul wanted me to work with Mikey Whipwreck, and I didn't like what he had in mind. I didn't like the pay that he had in mind, and I was just like, I appreciate it. I'm gonna pass. That's not that's not how I do. And then so then when I talked to Sabu, he was really mad. He's like, "What? He told you what?" He's like, and then Sabu insisted that he bring me in right, and then I met Paul the first time that I was at that first ECW show.
Okay, all right, cool. Did you happen to see his work like with WCW or cross paths with him when you were had your cup of coffee there, kind of thing, or anything? Like that?
No. I had seen him in the wrestling magazines, so I knew Paulie Dangerously or whatever with the phone, just from the pictures in the magazines mostly, because back then that's how we were introduced to wrestling that wasn't on our television. This was way before the internet. The wrestling magazines, there was several that would come out every month, and we'd wait for them, and they would have the wrestlers we knew, and they would have the wrestlers down south, and they would have wrestlers from Oregon and from Canada and from Florida, and so that was the only way to keep up with everybody. And so I didn't know much about him, but I knew that he was a manager of some tag teams.